and welcome to the show, everyone. This is Motorcycle Madhouse. It is Wednesday. How y'all doing in the YouTube chat room? I want to send out a hi out there to Eastern Europe, Russia, and VK, Canada, and Australia over on YouNow, and all our other platforms, including Twitter and everything else we're on. Seems like we're on a lot of stuff these days. Today's show is going to be talking about two icons that the motorcycle club community has lost this past week. One of them being Taco, 1%er, and the other one, Grub, 1%er. Taco, 1%er from the Outlaws Motorcycle Club, and Grub from the Warlocks. We have a big show ahead today, different sections, but first, to all my haters out there, all you guys that just hate my guts and all that good shit, here's what I have for you. Go to the corner and do this like my friend. Yes, that's about what you guys are good at over there. But anyway, let's keep on moving along. First thing I want to do is, if you guys can, these are two channels on YouTube. Go over there and subscribe. They fight for motorcycle rights like it ain't tomorrow. They're always out there on the front lines, and they need some subscribers. One of them is Tombstone, the other one Texas Biker Radio, and here's some of the stuff that you're going to go see on their channel. So take a look at this, and let's get them some subscribers over there.
Remember, we're telling you that the likelihood of being stopped if you're wearing a cut, even if you're not wearing a cut, is high. So make sure your house is in order. Now, that being said, we seem to be having these just one after the other here, especially in the North Texas area around Dallas-Fort Worth. And so we're working to get video to, and we do have video of this. It's not of great quality, but we do have some video, and if we need to, we'll do a public information request. And so they were stopped. Well, weren't stopped out. We're still getting the details on that, whether they were riding or whether they were in a parking lot or whatever they were doing. But we'll be talking about it on tomorrow night's radio show, and we'll also be talking about the stop that went down in Ellis County and other places. Now,
as a biker, so it's a good question because it comes up a lot in conversation, and there's a lot of people out there that feel that if they dress a certain way and they own a motorcycle that they're considered a biker, and that's really not the case. Now, I'm not going to break anybody's balls by calling them out or anything else. There's no sense in that. This is not about being argumentative. It's about just putting the truth out there. So what is a biker? To me, a biker is somebody that lives the life. It's not about going to your 9-to-5 job and then when you're done throwing your colors on and go out and conduct business the way that you're supposed to conduct business for the club. Being in a motorcycle club, or that's a full-time job in itself. There's times when my phone rings at 3 o'clock in the morning with hey, one of our brothers is the bike is down, or they need help, or I get a call from a wife says, hey, one of our guys is drunk, can you pick him up and get him out of the house because he's acting like an asshole and keeping the kids up? It's just stupid shit like that, which I have no problem. I mean, when I look at one of the guys in the club I'm part of, and there isn't anything I wouldn't do for them as long as they're doing the right thing by them and by the rest of the club at the same time. There's nothing wrong with going out and tipping a few too many. We all need it once in a while to cut loose. But being a biker is something that's special. It's in your heart. It's not just an action. It's a combination of your actions, what's in your heart, what you really feel strongly about. and also how you conduct yourself. Because the thing about being a biker is there's different kinds. Okay, you have these guys that are considered independent or lone wolf. Now, theoretically, being independent or lone wolf, that says that.
And those are the two channels, the content you're going to be able to get over there. Again, Texas Biker Radio, they have been on the forefront of motorcycle rights. They do a lot about the motorcycle profiling. Popeye OG, great freaking guys, great guys, and they work their asses off when it comes to motorcycle profiling for all you guys. So go over there, give his channel a like. All that the channel links and all that good stuff are in the description box on the YouTube video if you're watching the YouTube video. If not, you guys can message us on Facebook and we'll let you know the videos there. Tombstone, again, a great freaking guy. He loves biker rights. He's got the hashtag Biker United going on. So get over there, support them because they're out there supporting you guys. But the main subject tonight is two legends the motorcycle community has lost in just the past week. And these guys are heroes to many. I know Taco Bowman as a kid, again, some kids look up to baseball and football stars. Hell no, we all looked up to Taco. I can't even describe the feeling right now, the loss with Taco, but we'll talk about him. But let's get this kicked off with this piece. I thought it was a good piece.
Good evening, and God bless you. It's James Disciple Johnson, National President and founder of Disciple Christian Motorcycle Club. And generally, we let things in the 1% world pass without comment. But tonight, I felt that we could not let pass without comment what's gone on in the last few days. As many of you know, the founders of two major 1% clubs have passed recently. And so that's Grub from the Warlocks and then Taco Bowman from the Outlaws. And many of us know those names. They're household names to many. They are names that are loved by some and hated by some, perhaps. And that's not for me to comment on, but I can say as the founder of a Christian organization that it's sad to see legends pass on. And we certainly pass our respects to them and their families and their organizations. We believe that we're here to pray for all 1%ers. And we believe it's vitally important to do so and to recognize the history that has been laid by the motorcycle clubs for us to follow. And while we are a Christian organization and we focus on those Christian things, we also focus on following the traditions set in place by the 1% world. As the national president and founder of a club, I have done my research into what men have led other organizations and what their impact was and why they had the impact that they have. And I've been blessed to talk to Grub at length in the past and hear from him why he was involved in starting a motorcycle club and to really learn some old history from the 60s. And we have nothing but respect for the old school ways, and to hear it from the mouth of men like that is absolutely something that I'm treasured to have done. God has allowed me to talk to a lot of people in a lot of places, and so we mourn the passing of these men. And I'll tell you that in the motorcycle world, we have gotten a lot of leadership and a lot of ideas, and a lot has been passed on by these men. And I encourage us all to think about the legacy that they leave. As I've asked questions about what made Taco Bowman such a great leader, what made him the guy that was able to do all that he has done. And you can read about the history of these men by simply Googling their names and learn, or you can go ask your local person that's in a motorcycle club. And you know, I've heard repeatedly how the guy was friendly and outgoing, and you could joke with him, and there's certainly different sides to everything that people remember about Taco. But certainly he's somebody who unified an organization. And if we study leadership and we try to understand why people do what they do, he's certainly an interesting person to study. And so we certainly pray for all those affected. We also pray for the next generation of leadership in the motorcycle club world. We must be studying. We must move forward together as brothers. Motorcycle clubs were about brotherhood and biking and having a good time, partying together. And peace is where it's at.
And there you go. There is a correction to that. Taco was not the founder of the Outlaws, but he is definitely somebody who defined the 80s and 90s generation of bikers. And that was a pretty good thing coming from a Christian club. The respect that they gave to the one percenters that paved the way to a lot of what we know in the biker scene. And one of the biggest things that I always say is, especially those that are anti-club, you have the rights that you do today because of clubs, the one percenters. They went out there, they fought the fight. It wasn't you, it was them. And, you know, regardless of what club affiliation or ones you support, you got to respect that. You know, there was some disappointing, you know, we did the post on our Insane Throttle and stuff like that. And you would totally have some jerk-offs come out, run their mouth and all that shit. You go to their thing, you check their profile, and, you know, half of them didn't even have bikes. And it's like, you know what, you freaking ass monkeys. You know what, they're one of them type that, you know, need to go do this. Yeah, they're ass monkeys. That's what they need to do, the ones that are out there posting this bullshit about some great men that led this community forward. If it wasn't for these kind of people, their type of leadership, we'd still be stuck in the Stone Ages when it comes to harassment and people looking down at us. Because these people, especially these two men, led their respective clubs in a period when citizens, cops, everybody thumbed their nose at bikers. It was not cool to be a biker. And it was because of these type of men that in the mid-90s, that Rubs and, you know, the independent, everything started to explode, and all of a sudden it was cool to be a biker. Why? Because they wanted these men's image, but didn't want to have to put the work in to get it. So you gotta, again, regardless of what club, you gotta give these type of men props. Regardless if you love or hate them, it's what they did, what they stood by, the principles that they had, that you gotta freaking honor, because these are honorable men. And you're talking, you know, Grub, Vietnam, Taco was his generation, same thing. And they knew everything about loyalty. They knew everything about honor. They knew how to be leaders. And that's why they are legends. Legends. Because they knew what it would take to take care of their men, their brothers. So, you know, we're going to read articles on a different one. They're going to come out from Dave Walters, because Dave Walters, he has a awesome way of putting thoughts down the paper, and he really brings out the subject matter in your face and makes you think a lot. The first one's going to be on Taco, and everybody knows that he's a big hero. He is a legend. But imagine in your head, and this is from Dave Walters, imagine in your head you're swept back to 1935, McCook, Illinois, and you've just pulled your Harley up alongside a group in jackets stitched with McCook Outlaws on the back. Some of those same kids you just met will be gone soon. They'll go off and fight in Europe and the Pacific. They'll take Normandy and Saipan. They'll become the greatest generation and return home. You'll see them again in May 1946 at Soldiers Field, the first large Midwest gathering of motorcycle enthusiasts post-World War II. The next year, an event will change the biker landscape in a little farm town called Hollister. It will give way to lynch reports, Marlon Brando, OMC patches on vests of racing clubs banned by AMA from their events. In 1959, your friends from McCook, now based in Chicago, will add cross pistons, and by 65, it will change again and have a name, Charlie. In 1963, you will be there as they attend the Brotherhood of Clubs meetings, embracing the 1% moniker stitched to them by overzealous newspapermen and re-election needing sheriffs. They'll become the first east of the Mississippi, and in 64, you'll attend the races that see the Gypsy Outlaws of Milwaukee and Louisville join to become the Outlaws Nation. In 65, you'll have a front row seat to the birth of the AOA, American Outlaws Association. Just 7 years later, you'll meet a man named Harold Joseph Bowman. The world will come to call him Taco 1%. Yesterday, the man passed away in Federal Prison Hospital, and with him, another part of history, and culture was gone. He was born in the tiny town of Marysville, Michigan, population 9,700, and across the border from Ontario on the St. Clair River. Taco became the international boss in 1984, a position he would hold for over 13 years. He was a leading figure of the first Outlaws MC chapter outside the United States. In Canada in 1977, he learned and apprenticed under his mentor, Stairway Harry. Taco became the international boss in 1984, a position he would hold for over 13 years. He would move the national position from the traditional sacred grounds of Chicago to his home chapter of Detroit, Michigan. As boss, he was beloved by those he served. He would expand the club to over 200 chapters worldwide, including the first chapters in France, Norway, Australia, and one of the largest expansions of any club when he brought the English Outlaws into the AOA Brotherhood. When you think of the history of his life, of this culture, no matter if you like it or not, certain names stick out, iconic figures in this life who molded what we see and think of as a part of our culture. Taco 1%er was no doubt that kind of leader and man. When I think of the history of the MC, certain names stamp the look and feel of entire decades. Smokin' Joe and his San Francisco MC, Tex Bryant leading the 13 Rebels reminds me of the pre-World War II racing and grit that made up wooden bank tracks and brought us into the golden age of dirt track, flat track racing and cross-country races. Wino Willie is the post-WW2 definition of a biker, of living free of the need of the soldier to capture brotherhood and a rush. That is unquestionable. Dick and his Galloping Goose motorcycle, although very much part of the 40s, brings me into the 50s. Names like the Satan Slains of, course, Sonny Barger and his Hells Angels are the 60s. Guys like Danny Lyons and Flash 1%er are as much as the 60s in the Midwest, but I would argue were overshadowed by Hollywood lights until later in life. When you think of the 80s and 90s style of biker, you are lying if you say that image isn't Taco. And Dave, you're 100% right. With all honesty and due respect, we can say a lot of things, good and bad, about these transformative decades in our biker history. But agree or disagree with him, that image is Taco. To a T, he shaped what we thought of for that generation of 1% bikers. For his family, this is a devastating loss, to his brothers and sons carrying on his legacy. This is a hole and wound that will take time to close and heal. To us reading this and hearing this right now, I'm putting that in, Dave, is the loss of another icon in our culture. Please, if you do nothing else for me ever, sit the fuck down with those graybeards and hear the stories. Preserve the history, soak up the opportunities on the street or behind bars. Don't let the legacy, legends, and love die. For those of you with some more gray than usual in your beard, pass along the lessons. And that is Dave about Taco, and boy was he a legend, man. Big legend. Next we're gonna go with Dave's thing on Grub. He passed away this last week as well. And he actually served in Vietnam, and we thank him for his service. Everybody from Vietnam, all the wars after and all the ones before, you guys were the cream of the crop of what America has to offer, and we really appreciate everything you do for this country. Now, Dave Walters' piece on Grub from the Warlocks. Quote, I am just a little boy from Lockhart, Florida. He joined the Navy at 17. He spent 29 months on the USS Shangri-La. Sorry if I killed that ship's name. Where he was a ship fitter. In 1968, he landed in Saigon and reported on board the USS Tutuila, which was stationed in the Republic of South Vietnam. His 9 months in country was served working on river water patrol boats as part of the Brown Water Navy. While serving on the USS Shangri-La, he became one of the original 13 members of the Warlocks Motorcycle Club. When his tour in Vietnam was over, he went home and started the Lockhart chapter of the Warlocks. It became known as the Mother Chapter. Over 50 plus years later, the Warlocks MC has become international and is known the world over. During his life, Grub owned and rode over 30 Harley-Davidsons. His love for Harleys, which he called Davidsons, never ended. He was also known to call them, quote, the Big Iron. He was often heard saying, quote, let's put the big iron in the wind. I've deployed, I've served overseas, I spent countless hours shifting back and forth through the stages of, quote, fuck, we're gonna die, end quote, and busting balls. That what seems like endless hours of bullshitting, card games, gear checks, patrols, trading rip-its with Afghan kids so they'll point out IEDs, and dreaming up all shit you guys are going to do when you get home. That bond to those who share moments with is the best fucking drug in the whole world. For a lot of us, it's hardest thing about being out of uniform, and this is Dave talking. It is the thing that drives us to be the best prospects we can. I've never been to Vietnam. I've never served aboard an aircraft carrier. I would guess, though, that the similarities between those brothers and mine was exactly the same. In the mid-60s, 13 sailors would find themselves in those exact same card games. They had nicknames for each other like Grub, Kid, Scotty, Skip, Hate, Chico, the list goes on. They served together. She would earn, the ship that they served on would earn 3 battle stars for service in Vietnam and was assigned to the 6th Fleet of Operations. The ship would be home ported in Mayport, Florida, and a part of the active fleet until 1971, before decommissioned and eventually used for the Lexington-class carriers. They killed time smoking, drinking stale shipboard coffee, and in between duties in the engine room and launching and recovering jets. These 13 sailors talked about their love of riding Harleys, partying, the great places to grab a burger on Jack's Beach, and all the tail they were going to chase, and maybe get turned down by when they returned home. One sailor in particular was igniting the fire under his brothers. They talked about choppers, engines, rakes, and trees, flywheels, and do you really need brakes? That one sailor was known to his friends as Grub. His real name was Tom Freeland, and he was there as someone drew up a Blazing Eagle, which has remained unchanged since 1967. He talked of a name, Warlocks, and how all 13 of them would get their discharges up and start chapters where they settled down. In 1967, one of the 13, Scotty, would start the first chapter in Jack's Beach. It was a compromise. A few of the original 13 and some other sailors from off Mayport Naval Station, unfortunately, with many members returning to Vietnam, some getting new duty stations in California, or getting out and starting families, the first chapter closed down within a few years. Grub remembered the promise, though. When he was finally discharged from the Navy in 71, he returned home ready to ride, ready to party, ready to fly his Eagle. He started his chapter in Lockhart, Florida, near Orlando. For some of the 13, though, the euphoria of being home from war, reunited with family, changed their desire to start a club. Not all, certainly not for Grub. If you look through clubs today, those that have been around for a while have had the staying power. No matter 99 or 1%, finding a 50-year member is a rare feat. Finding someone with the drive, love, passion, and ability to not only lead, but to know when to let someone else lead, and to continue on as loved and righteous brother putting in over 50 years is something we all can respect. That dedication to something bigger than yourself is why you can find members today proclaiming the motto, God is good, Grub is great. Grub wasn't the only brother to hold his promise once he had his discharge in hand. His brother Kid would also open a chapter of the club. The Kid would go home to Minnesota and found the second chapter. A couple days marked the 4th anniversary of the Kid's passing a couple days ago. When he passed, in between attending funerals, a few brothers were able to go see the anchor from the old ship, which is on display in Lynchville, Minnesota. You can also see its propellers on display in a seafood restaurant in Milford, Delaware. I end this story by old saying, I don't give a shit which team you love and root for. 50 years of history deserves all respect. Oh, and if Grub ever reads this, we still dream of the same shit and get turned down by just as much tail when we get home. And I believe that was those articles were something special, Dave, man. You hit it on the money with both of them. These two icons. And you're right, man. The motorcycle community, start going up to them graybeards. Start going up and thanking them. And, you know, they're the ones who, admit it or not, bikers want to be like. You know, they want the honor, they want the respect, they want the loyalty, and most of all, they want to be loved. And I know Taco 1%er from the Outlaws MC is, and I know Grub from his respective club, the Warlocks, love him just the same. Within a week, two icons, man, that's pretty heavy stuff right there to lose two legends. Because the biker community, it's growing older. That's why you want to reach out to the older guys and get them stories. Learn from them. You don't need to go on the internet to learn about the bikers or what a motorcycle club is. Go out to your local bar. Go out to the club's open house nights and all that kind of good stuff. Get to know these guys. Because they're not going to only teach you about what a biker is, but they're going to teach you about life. And they're going to teach you to get through life because it's so goddamn hard that you got to man up, grow some balls, level up, and get out there and beat life and don't let life beat you. So it was a hard week in the motorcycle community, and again, hopefully you guys get out there. Hope you enjoyed the presentation. I hope you really enjoyed Dave Walters' piece, man. You got it going on, Dave. We're glad to have you over at Insane Throttle Biker News and doing this kind of pieces for us. We really appreciate that. I have to set in there real quick. China Dow. She will be on Sunday. She is going to do her first live show. So hopefully you guys will watch China just like you guys do us over at Motorcycle Madhouse. She's kind of nervous, I can tell you that right now. She's like, well, I don't know what topics and stuff like that. I'm like, well, just let them ask questions. I don't freaking know. Be you. Be your giggly self. And I know everybody over that watches the Madhouse is going to love you to death. So go out there, be you. So that's Sunday at 11 o'clock Central Standard Time that she's going to be on. So let me go. And also, the last couple days with all the super chats, you guys have been phenomenal. We really appreciate that. And again, all that goes right back into the show, so we keep it on Monday through Friday. What we do is pay the airtime and all that stuff on the other platforms. But let's go in here. Let's see here. Lori Bell, my Southern Belle. I really love Lori to death, man. Love the Graybeards and their history of what it's really about. Lots of knowledge and lots of respect from this girl. My condolences to all the men, families, and friends. You got that right, Lori. Graybeards, they're the most interesting thing. I remember, and I still do with some of my friends, is our biggest dream. Our biggest dream. It wasn't chasing tail, throwing back freaking bottles or something like that. It was sitting on our porch when we're 80 years old in our rocking chairs, looking down at our grandkids, our great-grandkids, and just telling them about how much fun we had with each other, how much fun it was to be a biker in our time. And yeah, that's still a freaking dream. But you're totally right as far as the Graybeards are concerned. Ohio Rider, very good show tonight. Thanks about that, Lowrider or Ohio Rider. Sorry, man, I kind of messed up a little bit tonight. But let's see here. What else we got? Carla, what's up, honey? Hollywood, you did an awesome job tonight. I know this one must have been a tough one, and you're 100% right. I used to 10 bar. And the old bikers had the best stories and were the most fun. Let me tell you, they are, aren't they, Carla? And, that's another thing with bartenders, man. You have to admit, Carla, that when bikers walk in, the bar's the most secure thing out there. Let's see here. Hollywood, she going to make it with chat busting on topics? Like we do with you. Yeah, she's going to have the topics going. She's going to have the chat rooms open. Everything's going to be going on with her on Saturday, Stefan. Or on Sunday, my fault, at 11 o'clock Central Standard Time. My phone system, yeah, you guys, it was good yesterday, but I still think it's too low. So we're getting a new number, seeing if that works. We're getting rid of the Google Voice stuff to see if that helps out with the volume. If not, I'm just going to go get a freaking phone system, bite the bullet. But with that tonight, hopefully you guys share the video and, get the word out on everything. Get the word out on your history. Be proud of your history. And again, no matter what club you support or any of that kind of stuff, two legends died. They meant a lot to their respective clubs. They put in the work. And that has to be honored. So with that, I'll talk to you guys later. It's coming up on 7:30, so I hope you guys enjoyed the show. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for watching Motorcycle Madhouse Live. We're on Monday through Friday from 7 to 7:30. Check out some of these videos of our archives. Get to know us. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. We appreciate all your support. We'll see you next time.